This is Certified Financial Planner Practitioner Matthew Gallagher. I'm here with my friend Mark Edwards of the Super Bowl winning New England Patriots, and we are discussing principles for my book Greener Pastures, which you can find on Amazon.com and get yours today. And Mark, I wanted to ask you, being a former professional football player and a Super Bowl champion, of course you played with a lot of players over the years, I believe 5 different teams. Tell me, with your vast experience, what are some of the biggest challenges you've seen players have, especially in the financial realm, from when they've played and then also when they finally quit playing, that they've run into?
One of the biggest problems they have is most players think they're going to play for 10 or 15 years.
Okay.
And they're making really, really good money from the time they're 22 years old, fresh out of college. And instead of planning on a very short career and putting that money away with sound financial advice, they spend like they're going to be making that type of money for a very, very long time. And more often than not, their careers cut much shorter, and they don't plan properly for that.
So this is for a lot of them, from what I understand, they've never seen this kind of money in their life to begin with. So once they finally have it in their hands, they just start spending, and they don't realize that it's going to end at some point, ever. Is that true?
Pretty much. Not only that, but most of them don't necessarily plan for life after football. Even myself, I had a great education from Notre Dame, had a degree, and once I finished up after 9 years in the NFL, I was like, all right, well, what do I do now? I'm 30 years old, I have a family, and I feel like a 22-year-old college graduate because everybody that's my age has already been in their career for 8 or 9 years at this point, whereas I'm going and starting from scratch. So it's a blessing and a curse, playing football, professional sports for that long, because I have some money in my pocket and I have some real life experience, but I don't have work experience.
Okay, so for a lot of them who thought, well, I'm just going to play forever, or I'll always have these millions coming in, because a lot of them sign contracts that big, if I'm correct, then when that ends, especially sometimes prematurely to what their plan was, and they've got to go into the workforce, they don't know how to do it.
Well, not only that, but you're used to making, some of these guys make, 500,000 up to millions,
sure,
and they spend like that. They get used to spending that, and then all of a sudden they go into the real world and figure out, hey, it's hard to make $100,000 in a job. So it's a shock, it's a change, and a lot of guys just aren't ready for it just because they haven't planned for that.
We talk a lot in my book here about protection and protection strategies and principles on being wise and being prudent and protecting what you have. And of course, it's important to grow, but it's also important not to forget. I know we have talked in a previous discussion about, protecting the pig, protecting the piggy bank, the passion a child has on protecting what's in their piggy bank and how we lose that as an adult with money on paper. Did you see things similar to that with players, and are there any stories of people that you visited with or that you tried to help counsel through financial challenges?
Yeah, there are several stories like that, because the guy comes in, he never sees the cold hard cash. He sees just numbers on a piece of paper, and those numbers are seemingly going to last forever. They're almost fake to them. I ran across the guy I played with, was making $3 million a year and darn near spending $3 million a year. And he said, well, when I retire, all I want is $2 million in the bank and I'll be set. Like, well, you're used to a certain type of lifestyle. You got a certain home that you're paying on, and you have, you're buying so many suits, you're buying so many cars, you're doing this, that, and the other. That $2 million that you are saving for retirement is not going to last very long.
So it's that unrealistic expectations you see a lot of them have that, even if they think I can live off this, from if I understand you correctly, if they're used to spending that as it is, they're going to be broke with their initial plan right off the bat.
It's a big challenge. It's a cultural shock to somebody getting out of the NFL, because not only are you not making that big paycheck anymore, but you're not in the limelight anymore. You don't have Sundays to go out there anymore. So it's a big culture change, and a lot of guys have a great deal of difficulty with it.
Lastly, let me ask you this. In one of my chapters in the book, I talk about how you want to choose your financial planner, not just on someone you go to church with or someone who's friendly or that's a friend of the family, whatever the case is. That's important, but also so is competence and so is knowledge and all those things. Have you seen it be a challenge in the professional sports world with athletes finding the right financial planners and knowing who they can trust.
That's a very, very big problem, and it's very challenging because guys grow up with certain people and they have relationship with certain people, and sometimes those people try to take advantage of these guys who come into money and have never had money before and are trying to do something with it. These guys really need to go out and find a guy who's not their friend, who is going to tell them how it is, the good, the bad, the ugly, and going to be able to stand up to those young men saying, no, you should not do this. Obviously you can't prevent him from doing something, but you should not do this. I'm putting my foot down. Do not do this. And, sometimes financial planners, in order to win that business, got to be nice and everything else, but then
be yes men.
Be yes men, but then when it comes to those difficult times, they got to put their foot down and do what's best for that young man who really doesn't have the right guidance or hasn't had the right guidance.
I appreciate your insight. Well, again, thank you guys for watching. We're talking about greener pastures and some of the principles from there. Again, with my friend Mark Edwards of the Super Bowl winning New England Patriots. Again, greener pastures, you can find it on Amazon. This is certified financial planner Matthew Gallagher. Thanks for watching.